Finally, we get a little bit of room to breathe out here in a chaotic cryptocurrency market. Black Monday hit us like a sack of potatoes, and I only have one piece of advice for you. Survive. Welcome everyone to the next episode here at Macro Crypto. In today's video, we're going to be discussing smart contract platforms, the L1s, the base layers out there within the cryptocurrency space, but more specifically, updating you on the Celsius lockdown that's currently affecting over 2 million plus users. Is there an end in sight? When will these funds be unlocked? We'll be going over that within this video, but also touching base off of Celsius's vault that they have open over on the MakerDAO protocol through wrapped Bitcoin. What is that liquidation price? The reason why this is so important, if liquidated, this could open the door for filing for bankruptcy, ultimately locking out the funds for these users forever. We're also going to be looking at a Twitter poll we ran back in late May regarding L1s outside of the Ethereum network. Which was your favorite? Cardano, Polkadot, Solana, Avalanche? If you wanted to, you could also comment your favorite protocol out there as well. We're going to be also going over one user's comment that was made, giving you a different perspective than my own. Remember, we're plugging in our Twitter at Macro Crypto Club. Go give us a follow and interact with these polls. You might find your comment on these videos, and we're going to start sharing those on a daily basis. Also, we're going to be talking briefly about layer 2s, Optimism, ZK Sync, Arbitrum, just to name a few. If you don't know already, we are a massive believer and have a lot of conviction that this is what's going to run next bull cycle. Just like we had DeFi summer, NFT season, it will be L2 season come next bull cycle, probably by 2024, if we're just throwing a wild guess out there. We're going to be discussing that briefly today and probably on a continuous basis moving forward. Also, our main focus within this video is actually talking about the blockchain trilemma. If you don't know what that is, this is a good moment to get a good introduction into this content. This was introduced by Vitalik Buterin himself regarding security, scalability, and ultimately decentralization. And you can't really have all three, but once you, or right now you can't, but once you do, you've won the race. And lastly, we will be discussing charts and graphs, discussing Cardano, Polkadot, and Ethereum, and how it compares against BTC specifically. All right, everyone, let's go ahead, check out on Celsius and give you an update on that lockdown. So as we check out Celsius, as you can see, 2 million plus users currently use the platform, have their funds locked down just north of $11 billion worth of assets. The reason for this, Celsius only has $2 billion in assets liquid at this time to pay back their customers. If there was a bank run over $2 billion in assets, they wouldn't have the funds to repay individuals that are using their protocol. Majority of these funds are actually locked up on the beacon chain, waiting for the Ethereum merge. Even once the merge takes place, those funds are going to still be locked until they can access them. It might be months post-merge until Celsius can even get that staked ETH off of the Ethereum network. So if I was someone that had funds locked up on Celsius, my expectation would be that my funds would be locked up until late 2022, potentially even into 2023. Now, what you want to really keep a close eye on is the vault over on the MakerDAO protocol through the Oasis app. This is the wrap BTC. Liquidation price currently at 14,000. This is the good news. Scarier news was, as of Sunday night, this liquidation price was actually set at 22,000. As BTC price fell to 23,000, almost liquidating the entire vault completely. And why this is bad news, as we alluded to in the intro, that's going to cause for bankruptcy, potentially losing all funds within the protocol itself, and anyone that has funds locked up would be liquidated completely themselves. Now, current price of BTC is just north of 22,000. Liquidation price is well below that. It's going to be something you're going to keep a close eye on. If you went to history, you'd be able to check out why they're able to get that price down so much, is because they've actually added just north of 6,000 Bitcoin into this vault to bring down that liquidation price, but also repaying 28 million DAI back to the vault, as well as an additional almost 19 million DAI back into the vault to continue to bring that liquidation price down. Probably selling off some other assets, or in some rough news, possibly using the other liquid assets they have for those users, which could be extremely shady. An even worse case scenario, if this price does get liquidated, bad news ahead for Celsius and any user out there. Let's go ahead and check out the Twitter poll. So as we look at the Tuesday crypto poll question here on Twitter, outside of the Ethereum network, what is your favorite L1 platform? If your favorite L1 platform is not in the poll, throw it in the comments below. Let me know what L1 you're rocking to the finish line. Don't be shy. As you can tell, the Cardano army showed out. Had this one running away in this poll question, 68.8%. Outpacing Solana, Polkadot, and Avalanche by a long shot. Yes, 32 votes on this poll was actually one of our highest votes. The more we build a community for macro crypto, the more data that we can collect and help you as a viewer understand the current crypto sentiment. So if you're not part of Macro Crypto Club over on our Twitter page, go give us a follow, participate in the poll questions, and you might even find yourself just like 6A here, G37X, getting a little bit of a shout out. Solana is centralized and has proven it is incapable. Cardano is an uphill losing battle. I have been a huge fan of Polkadot and their goals with interoperability. Next bull run. Also ready for Pulse Chain. Yeah, Pulse Chain is shit. That's just my opinion on that, but you know, to each their own, trying to get their own plug-in. But I do believe that DOT is the next bull run. If you don't already know, huge interoperability plays there for Polkadot in general. Solana, yes, is very centralized. They're broken a lot of times. 8 shutdowns this year have been in the double digits since the existence of Solana. Not a good look. Cardano, I would definitely agree with this, that it's in an uphill battle. Losing battle, well, it's a wait and see approach, right? Right now, it is fighting tooth and nail against Ethereum to be, you know, the de facto L1 within the ecosystem for proof of stake. You know, it has a lot of ground to make up if we're being fully transparent, but it is what it is, everyone. Get yourself involved with these Twitter polls. So as we mentioned in the introduction, we would briefly go over some L2s within the Ethereum ecosystem. We have high conviction that they are going to make a massive run in the next bull cycle, potentially as early as 2024, based off the scalability needs for the Ethereum network. Now, my favorite choices are ZK Sync and Optimism, but there's going to be other players that already exist, such as Arbitrum and Polygon, but others will also enter the fray. Potentially, the Ape Foundation through the Bored Ape Yacht Club will create their own L2 and many others. VCs have already started throwing money at these L2s, and it is only going to expedite the process come next bull cycle. Okay, scalability for Ethereum. Ethereum becomes the de facto L1 within the entire ecosystem. If that happens, L2s run. It's guaranteed. And you're going to want to get your money in on those early enough to see those runs and take profits when the bull cycle is in full effect. So you're going to ultimately have to make a decision on which L2s are most beneficial to you and your portfolio. We're going to be going over many of them in future dates, but we wanted to briefly bring that onto your radar. More and more of these videos go on. L2s is where the money is going to be made next run. So keep that in mind, and let's go ahead, head over to the blockchain trilemma, starting with scalability, talking about L2s in the first place, right? So what is the blockchain trilemma? And why is it even so important? Well, whoever solves the blockchain trilemma will ultimately rule the roost, become the de facto L1 within the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. This is not just a battle between the L1s of Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Polkadot, Avalanche. You bring Bitcoin into this conversation as well. Ultimately, who solves the blockchain trilemma is the winner at the end of the day. So, what is the blockchain trilemma? Well, it's security, decentralization, and scalability. Three of cryptocurrency pillars that all seem to constantly strive to coexist, but struggle to live in harmony. The blockchain trilemma was actually coined by the co-creator of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin himself. Refers to this idea and is leading to some interesting ways that projects and networks are looking to solve the problem once and for all. Some key takeaways. The perfect blockchain boasts all three elements: security, decentralization, and scalability. But finding a balance between the three is difficult and presents a problem referred to as the blockchain trilemma. Scalability and decentralization are often held back by security, but security tends to be compromised by any shifts on a network that offers scalability. Projects either choose to focus on two of the three or work on finding a solution to tackle the trilemma once and for all. Innovation ideas like sharding, sidechains, and state channels are used to address the trilemma, but they're still experimental. You could even throw in the Lightning Network for the blockchain network itself. A solution to the problem could lead to greater adoption of cryptocurrency and blockchain and widespread use of the technology across industries. So, like I mentioned before, we're not going to take a deep dive into each ecosystem. We're saving that for another video. We wanted to give you a brief understanding of what the current battle looks like. Your favorite chain, such as say Solana, is currently tackling scalability and security, letting their chain go full centralization. Hopefully becoming more decentralized with time, because if they don't, they won't become the de facto ecosystem that this world hopes to see. Ethereum, on the other hand, might be tackling decentralization and security right now, ultimately looking for L2s and sharding for scalability. Bitcoin, decentralization and also security, but no scalability on their layer 1. Bring in the Lightning Network, bringing scalability to the ecosystem. But ultimately, who solves all three together in harmony will be the winner at the end of the day. Who do you have your money on? So I have some capital on a couple different horses in this blockchain trilemma race. Bitcoin, Ethereum, a little bit sprinkled on Polkadot. You might have Cardano, Solana, or even Avalanche, but ultimately what you're betting on is which blockchain on the L1s is going to solve the blockchain trilemma first. And Bitcoin is included in this. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin and Ethereum can't coexist at the end of the day, but one will dominate the other. Whoever solves that blockchain trilemma will rule the roost. Just a matter of fact, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen or it's going to happen. But ultimately, the other blockchains are going to get shit on once this happens, okay? And they're going to be circling and scrambling to find a niche within the ecosystems. Now, moving forward for all alts or the other L1s, we will be pricing them against Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the king of crypto. Ethereum against Bitcoin currently, 1 ETH is worth 5.4 million Satoshis. Satoshis is the smallest unit denomination of a Bitcoin. Where we have been before in an all-time low back in 2019, 1.6 million Satoshis was worth 1 Bitcoin at that time. That's as low as we got. So just to let you know, we have a far way to fall in the competition between Ethereum and Bitcoin. This happened all the way back in 2018 from the start of the year till December. Later that year, it just kept falling all the way. So expectations are, guess what? We had this bounce very similar to back in 2018. We just dropped. And we are in the middle of repeating that, only 1 month behind right now. So understand from the end of 2017 all the way to the end of 2019, this is where Bitcoin dominated for 2 years against ETH, and then ETH had a 2-year cycle dominating Bitcoin. Are we beginning that 2-year cycle where Bitcoin now dominates ETH? This was the peak in November, or actually December, of ETH compared to Bitcoin. Now we're in a free fall. Bitcoin's about to have its heyday in comparison to ETH. We're going to be keeping track of it on a monthly basis. Checking out ADA. ADA doesn't have as much data sets as Ethereum was born in 2017. ADA was born, or Ethereum was born in 2015, sorry. And ADA was born in 2017, the end of 2017 that was. But again, ADA also had a beautiful stretch here of about 1.5 years against Bitcoin, but it ultimately fell against Bitcoin. It's fighting that bear market resistance band against Bitcoin right now, but it's failed twice before. I think a lot of people understand that it will fail again and set new lows and start trying to attack that all-time low of 390 Satoshis per ADA, currently right now valued at 2,161 Satoshis per ADA. So we're going to probably go reach these and test these all-time lows later this year, if not into 2023. Now, DOT is even younger than ADA, but it's ultimately on a downtrend in comparison to Bitcoin as well. So we're going to be keeping track on this. We fully expect to go well below the 17,000 that set the all-time low in 2021, because it was not around in 2018 and 2019 in a sense to compare against Bitcoin. So we're about to really get flushed out here by BTC if you are a DOT holder, just as a heads up. Now we're going to end this video off discussing the different phases that we're going to look at these charts with phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and we're going to be calling this the nice Goldilocks zone, where we're going to make our hay when investing into other tokens within the ecosystem. Look, if you notice, here we are at currently getting off this band. This is the Bitcoin dominance. We are in that same position right here. We have a long way to go in phase 1. We're going to have ups and downs. Potentially where we're going to have our down and dominance will be the beginning of the year itself, where we will really track down and the alts might have a little bit of hay, but ultimately making new all-time highs in dominance later in 2023. We're just overlaying what's happened in the charts with what has happened before. It's not going to play out the same exact way, but help set yourselves up. Bitcoin. Gobble that shit up while you can. When you are gobbling that up, you might be able to use that as leverage in a very careful way, maybe only 10%, so that if there is a 90% drawdown, you will not get liquidated ever. But if you use 10% of that leverage to borrow money to then take out, gobble up your alts during phase 2. This is where you're going to find juicy alt prices. The all-time low of Cardano back in 2019, that's the same Goldilocks zone. This is where you're going to gobble up those alts, and then ultimately you're going to sell in phase 3. You're not going to be buying in phase 3, okay? You should have bought that up when they were at their lows in phase 2 in the Goldilocks zone, okay? Ultimately, we're going to continue tracking this, give you more insight on how you can better help your wealth build with time, and stop getting caught buying the tops over here in phase 3 and everyone else selling against you. You know, you're that extra liquidity. No, you want to buy, and the new people entering the market next bull cycle, that's who you want to sell against. And it doesn't matter if you're going to max out on the peak, you're making profits because you bought in during the Goldilocks zone, okay? Hope everyone got something from this content today. If you have questions, throw them in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like, give us some love here. Till next time, everyone. Peace.